In early 2026, inside a glass office tower overlooking downtown San Francisco, executives at one of the fastest-growing artificial intelligence companies in the world were confronting a problem few technology startups had ever faced. Government agencies were beginning to distance themselves from the company's technology. Defense contractors were quietly reconsidering partnerships, and across Silicon Valley, a rumor was starting to circulate. Had the United States government just declared one of America's most important AI companies a national security risk? The company at the center of this unfolding conflict is Anthropic. My name is Akeiko, and in this episode, we're going to examine how a rapidly growing artificial intelligence startup ended up in direct conflict with the United States government, and why the outcome of that conflict could shape the future of artificial intelligence itself. Anthropic is an artificial intelligence research company based in San Francisco. The company was founded in 2021 by a group of researchers who had previously worked at OpenAI, one of the organizations responsible for launching the modern boom in large language models. Among the most prominent founders were siblings Dario Amodei and Daniela Amodei. Before founding Anthropic, Dario Amodei had served as a senior research scientist and vice president of research at OpenAI, where he helped lead work on early large language models. His sister Daniela Amodei had overseen safety and policy efforts at OpenAI, focusing on the societal implications of increasingly powerful AI systems. They were joined by several other researchers who had also worked at the forefront of modern AI development. One of them was Jack Clark, a longtime AI policy researcher who had previously served as OpenAI's policy director. Another was Jared Kaplan, a former theoretical physicist who had become one of the leading researchers studying how large neural networks scale. Together, this group represented a rare combination of expertise in both advanced machine learning and artificial intelligence safety. Many of them had spent years working inside the organizations that helped create the modern AI revolution. But by 2021, some of these researchers had grown increasingly concerned about how quickly artificial intelligence was advancing, and how little agreement existed about how it should be governed. Anthropic was their attempt to address that problem. Instead of focusing exclusively on building larger and more powerful models, the company prioritized research into how artificial intelligence systems could be made safer and more predictable. Their flagship system eventually became an AI model known as Claude. Claude is a large language model capable of generating text, analyzing documents, assisting with software development, and helping researchers work through complex problems. Within just a few years, Anthropic became arguably one of the most important companies in the rapidly accelerating race to develop advanced artificial intelligence. Major technology firms invested billions of dollars into the company. Businesses across industries began integrating its systems into customer support tools, research platforms, and programming environments. But the very principles that helped define Anthropic's identity would soon place the company in direct conflict with the United States government. The dispute reportedly began during discussions about potential military uses of Anthropic's technology. Artificial intelligence is increasingly viewed by governments as a strategic technology. It has the potential to transform intelligence analysis, cyber operations, military logistics, and battlefield decision-making. For this reason, the United States military has been exploring partnerships with private AI companies. But Anthropic approached those discussions cautiously. According to reporting on the dispute, the company refused requests to remove certain safety restrictions from its AI systems. Those safeguards were designed to prevent the technology from being used for applications such as large-scale domestic surveillance or fully autonomous weapons systems. Anthropic argued that current frontier AI systems are still imperfect and unpredictable. Removing those guardrails, the company warned, could lead to dangerous or unintended consequences. Military officials reportedly took a different view.
To further that, today at my direction, we're executing an AI acceleration strategy that will extend our lead in military AI established during President Trump's first term. This strategy will unleash experimentation, eliminate bureaucratic barriers, focus on investments, and demonstrate the execution approach needed to ensure we lead in military AI and that it grows more dominant into the future. In short, we will win this race by becoming an AI-first warfighting force across all domains, from the back offices of the Pentagon to the tactical edge on the front lines. The catalyst for this acceleration will be 7 pace-setting projects focused on mission threads across warfighting, intelligence, and enterprise missions, each with a single, accountable leader, aggressive timelines, and measurable outcomes that answer a familiar question, Elon. What have you accomplished this week?
Defense systems require technology that can be used for any lawful mission, without restrictions imposed by private vendors. The negotiations became increasingly tense, and eventually, the situation escalated. The United States government labeled Anthropic a supply chain risk. At first glance, the phrase sounds technical and bureaucratic, but in practice, it carries enormous consequences. A supply chain risk designation typically means that a company's technology may be unsafe or unreliable for use in government systems. Historically, labels like this have often been applied to foreign companies suspected of espionage or influence from rival governments. For an American artificial intelligence startup to receive such a label was highly unusual. The effects were immediate. Defense contractors began distancing themselves from Anthropic's technology. Businesses considering large-scale integrations suddenly found themselves unsure whether the company's systems might become politically or legally restricted. Inside the company, executives warned that the designation could threaten billions of dollars in future business. Customers across multiple industries began requesting escape clauses in contracts. For a startup operating in one of the most competitive industries in the world, uncertainty like this can be existential. Anthropic's leadership argued that the government's actions were retaliatory. According to the company, the designation came after it refused to remove safety guardrails from its AI systems. If that interpretation is correct, the dispute is no longer simply about procurement rules. It is about control. Control over how one of the most powerful technologies ever created will ultimately be used. Anthropic responded by taking a step that remains relatively rare in the technology industry. The company sued the United States Department of Defense. In its legal filing, Anthropic argued that the government had exceeded its authority by labeling the company a supply chain risk without sufficient justification. The lawsuit warned that allowing such a designation to stand could create a dangerous precedent. If federal agencies can arbitrarily label technology companies as national security risks, the filing argued, the government could gain enormous leverage over the entire artificial intelligence industry. Meanwhile, the broader AI industry began adjusting to the new reality. As Anthropic's relationship with the Pentagon deteriorated, rival companies moved quickly to secure government contracts of their own. Some technology leaders warned that punishing companies for imposing ethical safeguards could discourage responsible development of artificial intelligence. Others argued that governments cannot rely on vendors that impose their own limits on how military systems can operate. The debate revealed a deeper tension inside the technology industry. Should AI companies control how their technology is used? Or should governments have the final authority when national security is involved? Artificial intelligence is rapidly becoming one of the most strategically important technologies in the world. Nations increasingly view it as a key factor in economic competitiveness, military capability, and geopolitical influence. At the same time, many of the most advanced AI systems are being built not by governments, but by private companies. This creates a fundamental tension. Companies want autonomy over the technologies they build. Governments want access to tools that could reshape national security. The confrontation between Anthropic and the Pentagon may represent one of the earliest visible collisions between those two forces.